Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy. My husband is Paul. We are so happy you have joined us today. Today's video, we're just going to share with you how we live below our means, how we live on less money. And we do it by spending our money wisely, on setting our priorities, on where we want our money to go, and basically living a full, abundant life, but keeping some of that cash in our pockets. We just got back from a super quick trip to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. We want to show you some of the things we bought while we were there. We are continuing to stock up for winter, food supplies, and also items we're going to need for the upcoming holiday season. We're also going to be sharing another zero food waste recipe with you. We're also going to show you how we are taking the foods and the items we're bringing into our home and putting them away for future use. And you're also going to get to see our kitchen in its full glory as we are prepping food and putting food away for the season. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into this video. We're going to start with our Lancaster haul. Just a bunch of items we found that we thought were a great bargain, and boy, did I receive a blessing while we were on this trip. You'll see in a minute. So we're going to turn the camera around and let's get to our Lancaster haul. We just came back from a quick trip to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and we picked up a couple of items for the winter time, for some projects we'll be working on, some gifts. So let us just share with you what we found and the great prices that went along with them. At the end of the driveways to the Amish and Mennonite farms, you'll see little stands pop up where they will sell their wares and their goods and their produce. This was something Paul had been looking for. We're going to let him explain why he was looking for this. Now this, of course, would be simple to make. You would be like, why would we buy it? Because a young Amish man had made it and we wanted to support him. This was beautiful. It was aged wood, just what Paul was looking for. I want Paul to explain now what he's going to do with this.
So this is our Christmas star that we hang out in our tree every year during Christmas time. And the weather and the cold and the rain, it's really taken its toll on this thing. I've tried to repair it. It's plastic, it's broken, the wiring is a mess. Right now I plugged it in, it didn't even light up. So I saw the star in the little Amish shed, and it was only a couple of dollars. You know what, this is perfect. I'll take this home, I'll polyurethane the wood so it'll preserve it, and then I'll drill holes in it and remount all the lights properly inside, and this would be a perfect star to replace this old plastic piece. So as I repair this light, I'll take you on that journey and show you how I'm going to do it. And during an upcoming video, we will show the final product and hopefully it'll work great and look great.
Another Amish family was having a tag sale, and I just want to share something with you. A bargain is not always a great deal, and it could be for either the party selling or the party buying. And in this case, it was for the party selling. Let me explain. 6 beautiful tea towels in this gorgeous basket. As you can see, really pretty. The bottom is wood. I'm going to flip it over and show you something. On the bottom it said, bread handmade by Jonas, the last name, family 11905. And what will I do with these tea towels? I will wrap bread in them for gifts at the holiday season. Of course, I'll wash them, dry them, and then not only will they receive the baked good I'm giving them, but then they'll have an extra tea towel. They're all in beautiful shape. Now this one I'm going to keep myself because I'm going to show you why. First of all, it's autumnal and just gorgeous. But then let's turn it over. This was all hand done. Can you see that? This was not by a factory. You can see the little knots, everything. Just so beautiful. This is another one that was hand embellished. Turn it over. And again, you can see all the little stitching that they did. They just took ordinary tea towels and made them extraordinary. The basket itself has leather handles as well. They had marked on it $3 for everything. And I said to Paul, you know what? $3 for all this, their work, their beautiful basket. I could have given them the three, but I gave them a $5 bill. And even that, I don't know if it was compensation enough, honestly. But I did give them $5 because no way was this worth three. And these will all be used as beautiful wraps for baked goods for the coming season. Another tag sale we stopped at, I saw these little precious trick-or-treat bags. One of the memories I have as a young girl is getting my treats in these bags. These were 3 for $2. They're 18 little treat bags in each. And they're made of paper. You can't even find that anymore. So these I thought were just darling. I want to tell you a fun story. We were on the side of the road at one of the Amish farms looking at produce. And one of our viewers saw us and stopped. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
And she pulled over and she's like, are you Emmy? So even in Pennsylvania, we got to meet one of our sweet viewers. We thank her so much for stopping. So that was a blessing. And she had told us about one of the stores in the area called Singing Spring Foods. And we got some great deals. My sourdough bread not only uses white all-purpose flour, but you need a little bit of whole wheat flour as well. 69 cents a pound for whole wheat flour. So it came to $3.75 for about 5.5 pounds of whole wheat flour, which is a wonderful price. These Mrs. Miller's Klusky egg noodles are super expensive in our area. They retail about $5 to $6 a pound. This was 2.5 pounds for $8. These are some hearty, wonderful noodles to make brown butter noodles with, to add to chicken noodle soup. So these were two great deals we found there. These are blackberries. I used half of a container. It was my brother's birthday, and every year I make him an angel food cake with berries. And I used half of this container. This container was $5.50. It was filled. This was a wonderful deal. Then we visited our absolute hands down favorite store in all of Lancaster County, the Bird in Hand Farm Supply Store. No one knows that there is an entire grocery section in this store. When you walk in, go to the left, it's got a whole refrigerated section. We got almost 2 pounds of Colby Jack Longhorn, $2.72 a pound. Monterey Jack Longhorn, almost 2 pounds, $2.70 a pound. Like we have shown you in the past, we will cut these into pieces and we will food saver them and freeze them, and they are perfect throughout the winter. The big 18-ounce containers of blueberries were $2.10. I did buy 3 of them, but again, I used one for my brother's cake yesterday. We're going to wash them, dry them, freeze them, and then we just take out what we need throughout the winter to make breads and muffins. And also from the Bird in Hand Farm Supply were graham cracker crusts at $1.10 a piece. I bought 3 of them. That is a very good price, we felt, because butter, graham crackers, those prices are up. And you want to know my favorite part of this? You see this little plastic dome that each one of them have that you flip over and you cover your pie with? Do not throw those out after you are done using them. Wash them, reuse them. They fit a regular pie plate perfectly when you have to store a pie. So we're getting 3 pie plate lids as well as the delicious crusts. And then we stopped at another stand. Look at these beautiful beans. We bought 5 pounds of fresh string beans. I shared a bunch of them with my brother, and look how much we still have left. We are going to freeze these as well for the winter. Let's talk about freshness, huh? Oh my goodness. And then, of course, we could not forget to stop and get our farm fresh eggs. When we find a stand in Lancaster that we love, we mark it on our GPS. And then this was cheap eggs. And then we can go back year after year and know exactly where we got them. These beauties were $2.50 a dozen. Look at the size of some of these. Oh, goodness, look at these. Now for my final amazing find. Can you see this? You know we would never go to any town without checking the local Goodwill store. This was sitting there. Let me show you what I paid for it. So here it is, all cleaned up and washed, came with the lid. Look at the inside, no utensil marks. Are you ready? I'm gonna show you what this little dish sold for. Not what people were asking, but what it actually sold for on eBay. Take a peek at this. That little Pyrex is so adorable. I do not have that pattern. It is called Daisy Silhouette. It was a promotional piece for single people in 1978, and it was called Pyrex for One. Actually, Paul is the one who found it in the Goodwill. He's like, do you see this? I had walked right by it. So it was just a great little piece to add to our collection for $2.99 with the lid. Yeah, I couldn't go wrong. The blackberries, I forgot to mention, were from Centerville Bulk Food Store. That's another one right there in Lancaster County you can visit. Their prices are great. Another way to live below your means and spend less is as soon as you bring in items to the house that need to be put away, that need to be preserved, try to do it right away. There's nothing more disappointing than buying those 5 pounds of green beans, sticking them in the refrigerator, forgetting about them for a week or two. They're no longer fresh. They have gotten soft. Prep the food that you bring into the house right away. Store it correctly. It will save you so much money in the long run. Let's see what we did with some of the items we brought home. We have been non-stop this morning when I show you my kitchen. I made some simple blackberry sauce. Okay, wait for it. Look at this counter. Oh my goodness. We just blanched our string beans for freezing. I made sourdough chocolate chip cookies, sourdough bread. There's string beans I took out for dinner. Now I'm going to put the flour in jars for long-term storage. So as you can see, yep, we've been a little busy. So here are our string beans. We took the ends off. I blanched them for about 3 minutes, plunged them into cold water for about 3 minutes, and then let them dry. And now I'm going to put them in the freezer like this. What this does is it allows them to freeze individually so that we can put them all in one bag, take out what we need after it's frozen, and then reseal the bag. This way you're using less plastic and it just works perfectly. The beans just came out of the freezer and they are solid. And the reason we do this, like I said, you see how they don't freeze in a clump. They freeze individually.
We don't buy pre-made bags. We buy a roll. It's cheaper that way, and we make our own bags. So here's the bag we just made. You always have to leave room for it to seal. So that's why you see this extra unfilled bag. And this is the finished product. It's all vacuum sealed. And then as we need beans, I carefully cut right along this edge with a scissor, nice and straight, take out what we need, and then put it back in the sealing machine to reseal it for later use. And that's that simple.
One of the things we have to be conscious of is if we're buying food in bulk or we're buying it to use later, we need to store it properly. I've got this bag of flour. I'm going to transfer it to the glass mason jars. It stores wonderfully that way. Again, I'm going to say to you, get yourself a wide mouth funnel. There is literally nothing better. We use these large mason jars to store everything. They're just wonderful. What I did was I cut the label off of the package and I just dated it. I didn't add the year because I know this will be gone way sooner than the end of the year. So this is just a motivating, encouraging tip. If you buy foods that need to be put away, do it right away. Don't hang on to them. So we just hope that was encouraging. We hope it was motivating. Even food from the grocery store, store it properly. Nothing worse than produce that's gone bad or stored incorrectly. It's just wasting food, and wasted food means wasted money, and none of us have money to waste right now. Now let's get into the kitchen and make another zero food waste meal. We have decreased our food bill so much by eating like this. It's humble food, but boy, is it delicious, nourishing, filling, so good. And you're not eating packaged, pre-made food. You're cooking it yourself with whatever you may have in your kitchen. Be creative, think outside the box like we always tell you. So we had a bunch of vegetables we needed to use up. So let's turn on our crock pot and make a delicious vegetable stew. Can you all see the feast that is laid out before your eyes? This is going to be so great. We just came home from Lancaster and we need to put together a yummy, nutritious dinner. Use up what we need to use up. And this fits the bill. We're going to make a hearty vegetable stew. I've got one potato that is getting a little soft. We're going to have to buy some potatoes. I've got a handful of those fresh green beans we bought. An onion that definitely needs to be used up. We have 3 tomatoes that have been on our counter for a while, and I want to use those. Do you all remember when I made the corn cob broth way back? I will link the video down below for this broth. It is amazing. And we have a full container here, so we're going to add that to our stew. We have a mishmash of different bags of pasta. When there just gets to be a little bit in a bag, I throw them all together. We're going to add this in. We've got 2 carrots. This is the last bit of our celery. So we are going to have to go food shopping, but we don't want anything to go to waste. So let's get to chopping and prepping and making a delicious vegetable stew. Oh, and we need some garlic too. What I am going to do before we put everything in our crock pot is saute the tomatoes just to release their natural sweetness and juice. So I have about 2 tablespoons of good olive oil. Use caution when adding the tomatoes. They will splatter in the hot oil. I'm just going to add some fresh basil, add a little bit of Italian seasoning. We're going to add some salt, some fresh ground pepper, and then what I am going to do is add 2 cloves of crushed garlic. By no means do you have to do this extra step of sauteing all the tomatoes and spices, but it will give it that extra depth and richness of flavor. If you have frozen broth, definitely take it out the night before and defrost it in the fridge. This will save you the step of having to gently warm it on the stove and then add it. And now we've got our onions, potatoes, celery. We're going to add all of this to our corn broth. And I think the corn broth was probably about 1.5 cups. You can use any kind of stock you want. You can use chicken, you can use vegetable, beef, whatever you want. Here's our carrots and our fresh string beans. This is going to be a feast. This time of year when vegetables are so inexpensive and plentiful, use them. And now we have our wonderful tomato and basil and garlic and spices. And we're going to scrape this pot real well. And now we're just going to give this all a good mix. I'm going to cover it, put it on high. We'll check back in several hours. This has been cooking several hours on high. The vegetables are so tender. It smells amazing. I just tasted it. I cannot tell you what the sweetness of the corn broth adds to this. It's over the top. Now I'm just going to take our little hodgepodge of pasta and I'm going to mix it right in here. As long as it's all covered with the broth, we're good to go. Just going to push this all down in there. We're going to cover it and let it cook for about another 20 minutes or so. Everything came out beautifully. The pasta cooked. It was about 15-20 minutes. We just have some simple sourdough bread and butter. And now I've got a little feta cheese, and I am just going to sprinkle that on top. You can use Parmesan cheese, Romano, whatever you would like. From those simple, humble ingredients comes this really delicious vegetable pasta stew. If you didn't want to add pasta to the stew, you could have left it just as it was. You could have added rice and cooked the rice into the broth. Just make sure there's enough liquid in there. Don't add so much pasta or dry rice or beans, whatever. You have to have enough liquid to cook the dry ingredients. So make sure you're not adding too much dry in a dish like that. It was so good. You could have dressed it up with a green salad. We just chose some bread and butter. It was wonderful. Everything you needed was in that little bowl. So good. We encourage you to continue on your zero food waste journey as well. Last week, we did a video on how we're continuing to prep for the winter as we did today. And one of the items we showed you were the lanterns we use safely in the home in case of a power outage, and use them safely like we talked about in the last video. So many of you asked which oil we used. I'm going to show you a clip right now of what we use and what works best for us. Here it is. This is the lamp oil we use. It's unscented, clean burning. There are a lot out there. Please do your research and find one that works for you. Read reviews as always. Paul wanted me to encourage you again. Please do your research on oil lamps. There's so much information that goes into them. Wicks, the oil we use, how to trim wicks. There's a lot that goes behind it to use these safely and efficiently. We hope today's video was encouraging, motivating, and put a smile on your face. We thank you so much for spending this time with us. Today's question of the day, and please leave this down below because I think this will be really helpful to all of us. How are you doing on your zero food waste journey? What have you been making that you used up bits and pieces here and there? Have you come up with any new creative recipes just to use up what you have in the home? Share that with us down below because I know it will encourage Paul and I as well as our viewers. Again, we want to give another shout out to Lisa, our friend from Lancaster. Thank you so much for stopping and saying hello. You see us out there, please come up to us. We are so approachable. So Lisa, thank you for stopping. It meant a lot. We ask you to please give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you. Are you comfortable? Oh my gosh, as soon as I start to talk, she closes her eyes and pretends she can't hear me. Oh my goodness, look at this pup. You comfortable, Mama?